NBA. And Jerry is someone who has consistently turned heads throughout the basketball community with his ability to connect, his ability to relate to players at all levels, and his ability to make players better, and ultimately his ability to win games. His teams play hard, they compete, they are well prepared, and they have great culture, they develop, and they win. So this is an exciting day for Vanderbilt basketball. I couldn't be more thrilled to have this announcement today. Jerry Stackhouse is a great new leader for Vanderbilt University and our men's basketball program. He's a highly skilled leader with an exceptional basketball mind, a unique feel for the game that's unparalleled given his extensive background, and he is otherwise a new, dynamic, and relevant voice within the game of college basketball, and he's committed to winning the right way. So it is my pleasure to introduce the head coach of our men's basketball program at Vanderbilt University, Jerry Stackhouse.
Thank you, Malcolm, and good morning, everyone. I'm ready to anchor down, ready to get it going. I'm incredibly humbled. I'm joined today by, my beautiful wife, Amira, my oldest son, Jay, and our friends, Kim, to be a part of this moment for me today. I want to thank Chancellor Zapos, Malcolm, Candace, for all they've done to give me this opportunity to come here and coach at Vanderbilt University. As a head coach, I want to teach. And that's what it didn't matter at what level that I got in. I mean, people felt that I was on a trajectory in the NBA, but when I had an opportunity to come here and met with Malcolm and talked about this excellent university, what it stands for from an academic standpoint, the conference that we play in the SEC, playing at the highest level, it was just an opportunity that I couldn't resist. I played for and coached against a lot of great coaches, and from those coaches I've taken, things that I liked, some things that I didn't like, to try to formulate my own system of how I feel the game should be played, and that's what I'm going to try to do with these kids. I mean, it's really gratifying to see kids get it, and I mean by getting it, I mean understanding what it takes to be successful, and understanding how. A lot of things that kids have to be taught what they need to do and how they want to do it, and that's one of my strong suits, of being able to develop not only individual skills but have an understanding of the game and how it should be played. I played against some great people, some great coaches, and I'm just excited for this opportunity to be able to blaze a path at this university. I coached in the, like I said, AAU basketball, coached in the G League, coached in the NBA, but there's not a moment more proud than I am to be at this university today. My family, my mom and dad, who because of health reasons aren't here today, but I'd be remiss without thinking about them and what they meant to me. The fact that I just want to thank them for rolling me out of bed every morning at 5 a.m. To get on my knees and say my prayers, to waking me up, every Sunday morning. We was in church every Sunday morning, just Bible study, everything. I mean, that's why I'm here. That's what they're getting. Obviously I've been able to have some success with what I've done in basketball, but those are the two people that Vanderbilt University are getting. And what they taught me, the value of integrity, treating people right, and teaching is what I'm going to try to bring to these kids. The appeal of this university, obviously, like I said before, the academic standards, that's what we're going to do. We're going to graduate athletes, that student athletes that not only are going to have success on the court, but they're going to have success in life and be people that we're going to look for as some of the best leaders in the world, off the court as well. So I'm extremely excited about that. We're going to play hard, we're going to play tough, we're going to play the right way, and then I'm extremely excited to get started with these guys. Thank you.
We'll open up for Q&A. We have microphones on either side. Please say your name and outlet.
Adam Sparks of Tennessee, and Jerry, welcome to Nashville.
Thanks, Adam.
You mentioned that you just want to teach whatever level it is, and it was presumed that you would be on the fast track to be an NBA head coach. How far back did you have aspirations of maybe coaching in college?
Well, obviously, I think North Carolina was, kind of following Dean Smith. Once I kind of got in there, he's my role model. He taught me the game. Not only, but there's mentors before that too, like my junior high school coach, Robert Murphy, who was a big conditioning guy, I got something from a lot of different people, Rick Carlisle was a guy that kind of changed my game. When I started coaching with him, I was averaging probably about 30 points a game, and he came in and told me, like, if you could average about 23 and kind of, I was like, huh? You know what I'm saying? But we went from a 32 and 50 team the year before to a 50 and 32 team. So it's like, sometimes less is more. And even at, with North Carolina, I was leaving almost every day. That first year at North Carolina was tough. We were under Coach Smith, and him telling me that, me and Brian Reese could be the best, small forward tandem in the country. And I was like, I feel like I could be the best small forward in the country by myself. So it's like, but those are the lessons and the things that you couldn't see as an 18-year-old. And I think that those stories that I can share with young student athletes now should resonate. You hear a lot about the one and dones and all those different things. And I was in those situations, so I understand the emotions that go with that from a student standpoint, from a family standpoint. So I'm just, I'm excited to be here. Yeah, the NBA was where I've been for the last few years. It was just kind of an easy transition from, my playing career. I got away from the game, did some broadcasting, I did some of the things that you guys are doing right now, so I quickly got away from that, and got back into what I love and what I really have a truly passion for, and that's teaching and coaching basketball.
Jerry, David Beauclair with the Nashville Post. Malcolm called you a new voice. You said you have a clear idea of how the game should be played. What's the essence of modern basketball as you see it?
Well, I think it's, everybody talks about pace and space. I want to play at, an up-tempo style, but no one wants to play at a quicker pace than me. We want to get out and run, rebound the ball, get out and run, but at the same time, if you don't have good opportunities, we want to work the defense. I want to make sure that, we're getting great opportunities, high percentage of shots on the offensive end. I'm not coming in necessarily with an offensive philosophy. I think a lot of that is based on your personnel. So if I got a guy that I can throw the ball to, I know everybody wants to shoot a ton of threes, but if I got a guy that's efficient on the block, we want to take advantage of that. If we got shooters, we want to take advantage of that. But I think all those things are changing and depending on personnel. But what we are going to do is defend. We're going to defend a certain way, and that requires a toughness and a level of togetherness and competitiveness that, because you're not going to make shots every night, but what you can do is give yourself an opportunity to win by being real staunch on the defensive end, and that's what my teams have been in the past, and I got pretty much got that identity from, as a scorer, I figured out what I didn't like to see as an offensive player, and kind of incorporated those things into a defensive philosophy that has bode well for me and my teams, and it should bode well for here at Vanderbilt as well.
Jerry Cutler-Klein with the Vanderbilt Hustler. Welcome to campus. You have experience at the AAU level with the Stackhouse Elite program. How do you think that AAU experience can help you kind of transition into kind of getting a feel for the college recruiting game, especially with how much of a grind it is nowadays?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, that those experiences and those relationships, everything is based on relationships. And fortunately for me, that I was able to have and forge a lot of relationships with a bunch of AAU programs, a bunch of AAU directors. And I think that, it's great to have the talent, scouts and everything, but at the same time, there's always still a degree of separation from just those players and how you can actually get those players. And fortunately, those relationships that I have from there hopefully go well for us to get those type of players that have been, obviously it's a little tougher to recruit here because of the standards that we have, and we're proud of those standards, and are going to find those athletes that fit the bill, not only on the floor, but in the academic arena as well. So we're excited about that and excited about the possibility of getting out on the road and getting into the living rooms and telling kids how we can help them, obviously off the court, but on the court as well. I don't think there's really a coach in the country other than that has a better blueprint of what's needed and what's prepared to go to that next level, because I've done it. I see these kids coming in and see the development that's needed for them to have success in the G League. A lot of those kids they're maybe just a smidge under those 60 players that got drafted. And some of them did get drafted. I see a lot of them, and it's not a big difference and not a gap. They're right on the precipice of being probably a lottery pick, and it's just a few little things, a few little nuances that they learned it at the college level could have been a difference in them being drafted or not being drafted. So hopefully I can bring that to the table to help our prospects that have that type of ability.
Johnny Franks with Nashville Sports Radio. First of all, welcome to Nashville.
Thank you.
Obviously, recruiting is the lifeblood for any strong athletics program. From your background and your skills, what will help you and your staff be competitive in the SEC?
Well, I just think that the fact that, again, there's a select players that we target, but again, those relationships, being able to go, I know what it looks like because I've had all these college coaches calling me when I was running my program, and I understand that dynamic. I understand the dirty world of it as well, and we're going to always be above the fray in that. We're going to do it the right way. Like I said, from still to Coach Smith, I always reference to him because I know that he's always did it the right way. He didn't have to try to sell me. He sold me on the program, sold me on the fact that he didn't promise me anything. He didn't promise me that I was going to come in and play 30 minutes a game, which I didn't. But he promised me that he was, that he would be a foolish coach if he didn't play his best players. And I took that challenge. I was getting promises from everybody else. You're gonna come in, you're gonna play 40 minutes a night. You're gonna do this and you're gonna do that. And I took the challenge of going to a place to where things weren't promised to me that I had to work for. And that's where we're gonna be here. We're not gonna try to fool anybody. If you want to come to a place that's second to none from an academic standpoint, that's second to none from the level that you play in the SEC and in this conference, and I feel second to none in what you're going to learn about the game and how to play the game the right way and play it at a high level.
Zach Ellis from Vanderbilt Athletics. Jerry, you've talked about Dean Smith a lot, but just when you look back at your time as a player, what specifically from his coaching did you see that you still carry with you now when you're coaching your teams and the foundation we're built here?
Well, we're no middle. We're a no middle team. This big article came out this morning about no middle and pack line, and we're a no middle team. On the post, we're a no middle team on the perimeter, and I think those fundamentals. But again, treating people the right way, man. I think there's still a hierarchy. When it comes to players, your seniors are your leaders, and they teach the younger ones, and that's the way it was. There's, the freshmen, they got to come in and earn things. They got to carry the bags. They got to do, get the older guys some donuts and all that type of stuff. So, it's going to be a good mix of a little bit of NBA hazing, you know what I'm saying, and college, just. Whatever we can do to make it tough on them and know that they're not going to come in here and have their way, and that you earn things by doing things the right way and by having tenure. By the time that you're a senior and you understand what we're doing now, now it's your responsibility to give back and each one teach one, and we're going to live by that.
Chris Lee with VandySports.com. I know that you can't talk about specific players, but if you talk to any of your current commitments, have you reached out to any other kids that maybe the previous staff was not recruiting?
Well, yeah, actually, I'm still getting, evaluating. Everything's been like a whirlwind the last few days. So, after the press conference, and we kind of figure out, all the scholarships, and we have some guys in the portal that hopefully we will be able to get back and things like that. But for the most part, I'm just focused on the guys that we have right now. I was able to meet with the team yesterday, And it was just exciting to see the excitement in their eyes about getting going. And I was, I couldn't help myself. I saw that big whiteboard. I started drawing up plays. Started talking about our defensive schemes and things that we're going to do offensively. And everyone was engaged and excited. And after that, I was still taking a tour of Memorial. And next thing I know, I saw a few guys out there on the court shooting around. So it's like I think they was kind of pumped up and ready to go, man. So that's what it's about, being able to get there, like I said, have them understand what's required of them, and for them not only for initially it'll be me and the coaching staff holding them accountable, but on great teams that I've been on, players they find a way to eventually hold each other accountable. Those are the teams that have the most success.
Jerry, you obviously know Malcolm from the G League. How much was his presence here a factor in your interest in this job?
Very, very much so. I mean, like I said, he's a lot older than me, but he came out in '93 and I was just coming in, so we didn't overlap there. But just having an opportunity to see him work and the innovative things that he did for the G League while I was there, and I think the things that I was able to do in a short amount of time, there was just a mutual respect there. And I can't really say that there's too many college situations that I was looking to go to. Again, with my trajectory being what it was in the NBA, I was on pace to sit down and talk for a head coaching job in the NBA this off season. Already with a couple of teams, had those interviews lined up, but when Malcolm approached me about the possibility of this job and just being here and everything all encompassing with this university, it was just it was hard for me to say no to him, and I'm super excited that they feel that I'm the guy to be able to bring the Magic back to Memorial, and I'm truly excited about that.
Joe Rex over the Tennessee, and actually for both of you, kind of another G League related question. For Jerry, how do you feel that league is prepared you for this? How difficult is it to get a team to play the way you want to play in the G League, and is it a developmental league like that? And Malcolm, how much of what you saw there led to this?
Well, I think the thing about it is I started in the G League and I had 15 guys that I knew nothing about. We had to build a team. We had to build a culture. We had to build a way of doing things, and we were able to have success with that. We were able to win a championship in that very first year, and then the next year we come right back, and I have 15 different guys, different players. So I think that's that's parallel to what I'm coming into right now. Having 15 guys that I didn't recruit, that I don't really know, but we can build, and it may not come. That team that I had that second year started 4-10. We wound up 32-18, but we were consistent every day. It doesn't always. The fruits of the labor doesn't come, right away sometimes, and you have to, continue to just kind of stay steadfast. And we had some real tough moments, some tough conversations, but I told those guys that they stick to it, continue to come to work every day and focus on the things that they need to do to get better, that we would come out of that. And they believed it, and we did, and we made it another trip to the finals. Unfortunately, we lost in the finals, but for a team that started off 4-10 to get it right and make it back to a back-to-back final with pretty much 30 totally different players, I liken that to this situation and being able to have some immediate change and success.
And for me, Joe, that was my opportunity to see Jerry work. His professionalism, his passion for development, his connectivity and relatability with players. His teams played hard. There was great culture. Jerry's exactly right. Rosters can be very fluid in the G League, and we always joked your success is your demise as players develop and move on. Rosters change a lot, and Jerry was always, very professional, and his teams always played hard and were connected on both ends of the floor. And you talk to opposing coaches, and they would always comment, you had to coach harder and play harder against his teams, were some of the things that I observed for sure. So it was really a really, opportune, now that we're sitting here today, window for me to really watch him work and watch how he goes about his business and builds culture and chemistry and a culture of accountability and an environment for teaching and development. And, as I saw that firsthand, and again, the more and more G League coaches that you talk to who coached against Jerry, the more NBA GMs and coaches and others who you talk to, just became very, very impressed and with him and his contributions to the league. And so, just as Jerry referenced earlier, an opportunity to watch me work, I had that same opportunity and couldn't have been more impressed.
Jerry, Teresa Walker with the Associated Press. You've been down in Memphis the last few months. Any chance that you've talked with Penny and Mike and learned about the transition going from AAU experience, NBA coaching, to now dealing with the NCAA and that whole rule book?
Yeah, absolutely. I reached out to Penny probably about 2 weeks ago. We text back and forth, and I wanted to see what that looked like, and transitioning out of his relationship with the grassroots program, with the NCAA rules and everything. And we're scheduled to connect, but I think it's maybe different. So it's just more about getting with our compliance people here and figuring out how all that transitions out. But he definitely was open to sharing anything that he could help. Mike as well, but I did reach out to Penny.
Steve Lehman, from Malcolm. The track record of guys who are quote-unquote NBA guys to college is not particularly stellar. Did that give you any pause, or what sold you so specifically on Jerry? And then just from a fundamental aspect, on the schedule, we still got 2 games left. He's got to pass the compliance rulebook things. What kind of hurdles does he have to pass to really get going to be your head coach then?
There are clearly some steps, and Jerry referenced that earlier in terms of, meeting with compliance and ultimately building a great staff around him to facilitate and accelerate his transition to this space. And so certainly well down that road, and we're addressing that immediately, but no hurdles whatsoever. I mean, what I admire about Jerry, and there are a lot of folks I consulted within NBA circles, but Jerry has always, even as a player, began to develop a penchant for coaching, and he was not one who wanted to skip steps and resisted any this notion of not paying your dues, or that's not Jerry. He had a real interest in this space and invested in it, invested in himself, and had no interest in skipping steps in order to do so. And so I think he comes here enormously well prepared from that perspective. Again, his track record of development and coaching excellence in this space speaks for itself. And so, well before his playing career ended, Jerry was already starting to think like a coach and do some coaching things in that regard. And so I think he comes here enormously well prepared.
Malcolm, Johnny Franks with National Sports Radio. This is your first opportunity as far as having to fill a position. And as an AD, when you took the job, obviously you knew there'd be days like this, personnel leave, et cetera. From a philosophy standpoint, do you approach it with, on a clean slate, or in your mind with all the positions underneath your realm? Do you have individuals that you have in mind to fill, future openings, like in the case of men's basketball, could be baseball one day, retirements, whatever the case may be?
I think, I came in with certain ideas for sure, but as I've also said a number of times, I'm never one to walk in any situation with all the answers to the test. And so I did have a few ideas in mind, but was intent on, very specifically taking a look at a broad range of different candidate profiles that we could go after, and had, a lot of folks who I could consult with, in terms of developing a candidate list. And certainly there are some names that I was familiar with, but I was also intent on, I want to do a complete and thorough search. I want to understand all names out there. Yes, I have current relationships, but there's some relationships and connections that, I may need to make. And so there were a number of people who I consulted with in that respect. And so it was starting from a clean sheet of paper. Yes, I did have some initial ideas, but took great care not to jump to those ideas too quickly. And so, whether I see Will Perdue and Shane Foster here in the room today, or, whether it was, sitting college coaches, highly respected and successful coaches who I could use as a sounding board, other highly successful and respected coaches who are not currently coaching, relationships that I could tap into in terms of, here's Vanderbilt, here's our need, fit really matters. And so there were a number, of people who I consulted. Brad Stevens, his transition from college to the pro game, and, certainly offered some very thoughtful, insightful comments for me along that way. And so it was a thorough, comprehensive process. Yes, I did have a few ideas going into it, but again, took great care not to jump to that end game too quickly, and wanted to really canvass and really understand different candidate profiles who I thought could fit here. And obviously we emerged and landed in a great spot, and couldn't be happier to have Jerry Stackhouse as leader of our program.
Our time for a couple more.
Jerry, Chris Harris from News 4 here at the UBC station. Welcome.
Thank you.
What specifically appeals to you about coaching at the collegiate level?
Well, I mean, I like coaching. It's not so much at the collegiate level. It's just about the coaching basketball. I mean, I hear all the difference, like these college. I'm trying to figure out is there going to be another basket out there or something? Are they going to start running backwards, or is double dribbles allowed or something? I don't know. It's basketball to me, and it's teaching and coaching basketball. And I've not only have I played there too. I played in college, and I understand what was there, and I transitioned to this game. And like I said, I understand the recruiting piece of it is a huge piece of it, and making sure that you are able to acquire talent. But I think we have a great sale. We're attractive. We got the blueprint. I know what they're looking for. I know what the workouts look like. When you go to a pro team. I don't know if all coaches have that. I can get any coach in the NBA on the phone. I can get pretty much any GM on the phone. So can this guy right here. So I think we offer a really attractive situation here now, and at the same time, you're going to get one hell of an education when you come here. So that's what we're looking. That was our pitch, and that's going to be our sale. Not much more than that.
Jerry, Chris Lee with Vandy Sports. You mentioned how you would adapt offense to personnel. I assume defense will be the same way. When you get your kids in, is it going to be all man? Will it be pressing? Will there be some zone? What would you like to run ideally?
Well, I think we're going to base it off of man defense. I think a lot of teams you see right now, they're doing a lot of switching and doing all those type of things. And those are things that we will eventually get to, but our base will be on man-to-man defense. Will we play a little zone? Absolutely. We try to disrupt teams out of their timeouts, maybe ATOs. There's a little full court press from time to time. Just know that you may get down, not making shots, may get down big and need to try to get back in the game certain ways. We're going to try to cover the gamut on schemes and different things that we need to do to have success. But our base of who we're going to be on the defensive end is man-to-man.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone. We'll have a photo up right now with Malcolm and Jerry.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.